Okay, so the previous videos have been too fucking long. Now I'm gonna shorten it by assuming all of you can read what the skills do. So this guy will be for Ezmo. For the right click, what you have to note is the skill shot indicator doesn't actually represent the true range of the skill. There's actually an explosion radius at the tip of the arrow, right? So that actually extends the range. You'll see. It doesn't hit, it does not hit, it does not hit, it's gonna hit. Right. So basically there's a circle, a radius of explosion at the tip of the arrow. It increases the width by a marginal amount that's negligible, but the range is actually increased by quite a bit, as demonstrated here. And it's not just for like an uncharged right click. For fully charged, it's the same. You don't actually have to reach the enemy with the skill shot indicator, as long as the radius of the explosion reaches it. Right. However, the width is not increased by that much, so you don't need to worry about that. With spacebar, you can go through walls, and you have to note that it actually recharges your left click called Arc and Fire. Right? So you don't have to reload if you use your spacebar after your Arc and Fire runs out. That's pretty neat. Now for your Q, the absorb the shield. It actually, you have to read it very closely, right? It gives you one charge every 10 damage, and one charge for each non-damaging source, which will be like, say, a stun from, or like, okay, I'll just do a fucking demonstration. Which will, for example, be Eva's E, Taser. Doesn't do damage, however, it counts as a source, a non-damaging source, so it will give you one charge. Now, the damage calculation is actually rounded up. As you can see, I just got 2 charges from that one shot, which does 15 damage. In theory, it should only give you 1 charge because it only does 15 damage. It actually doesn't do 20, but it's rounded up, so you actually get 2 charges. Which means, say, this target dummy does 15 damage each, and 2 shots will add up to 30, which normally should give you only 3 charges. But since it's rounded up, you will actually get 4 charges instead. In time, right? 2, 9. See? So that's pretty neat, but it's a really rare occurrence that will happen. Most heroes probably do either a lot of damage in one go, or very small amounts of damage. So that's just a fun fact. I don't think it will actually come into use, since you will probably be using your EXQ much more, which I will explain later. Right. Your E, you have to note that not only does it have the 1 second cast time, it also has the impact delay, right? So it's 1.3 seconds between you casting the skills, initiating the cast of the skill, and it landing. And the enemy can see you casting it, so it's fairly easy to dodge, although you do get control of where it lands until you finish casting. So it's a little bit more control, but it's not a very good skill. It does do damage, even though it's very insignificant, and often you forget about the damage component of it. And it does give you energy, so it's not the worst skill in the world, but it's not very good. Now for your book, it cannot go through walls, right? If you think of it as a projectile, you're shooting it out from where Ezmo, your character, is. So you cannot shoot it over walls. And there's a maximum distance indicated by the skill shot indicator. However, it can shoot from behind the wall. The moment your book is out, it will shoot where your cursor is. It doesn't matter, like, if you don't even have vision of your book, it will still shoot. Okay, it's kind of hard to demonstrate. Okay, you don't have vision of your book, it will still shoot. It doesn't matter. The moment it's out, it will shoot wherever your cursor is. Right, so there's that. Cannot go through walls. but the moment it's out, just touch it. For ulti, the pull component of the ultimate is actually larger than the explosion radius. Although the ulti is kind of bad, that's pretty neat. It also acts as a control factor, right? It's not just damage, you can control opponent's movements. But it doesn't silence them, it doesn't root them, it doesn't stun them, so it's fairly easy to get out of. But just note that, you know, the pull range is slightly larger than the explosion radius. And of course, you can cast. Here we go. Okay, and you can cast it through walls. I didn't realize that, and I just found out. That's cool. You can cast it through walls, but it's insignificant because ulti is pretty bad. Now for your EX moves, this actually I'll demonstrate it. Your AX left click counts the damage by the amount of time your left click has been on top of your target, right? So if it's on top of your target the whole time, it will do the full amount of damage. However, if you swing across like this, see, that probably amounted to half a second of duration of it being on the first target on me, so it did 2 instances of damage. Since it does 8 instances, every 0.25 seconds, it does 1 instance of damage. So, if I do it like this, the total duration of the time my AX left click has been on the target is taken into account to count how many instances of damage it actually inflicts on the target. So if I do it really fast, okay, that was kind of shit. Let me try again. It will do, okay, it did 1 instance to the first target dummy, the 0 to the second, right? So it makes the skill shot kind of hard to land because it doesn't do damage the moment it's on the target. If you're only on it briefly, it doesn't actually damage them. So naturally your target will be moving, unless they're rooted, of course. So if they're moving, you have to be really good at tracing your opponent, otherwise you won't do the full duration, well, full amount of damage from your left click. There's that. But it's really good against counters because, you know, it's not actually a projectile, so it doesn't trigger counters. So that's nice. And your EXQ. You should always be using your EXQ instead of your Q. For many reasons, which I'll go into detail later, but it's basically a shield, right? It gives you a shield, and if it's broken, it instantly gives you 10 weapon charges. And only takes 24 damage to break it. So you can kind of see why it's better. Now before we go into how to play Ezmo, we'll just go into the Battlerites first, because that kind of dictates how the hero is played. There's 2 builds for round 1 and 2 Battlerites. I personally prefer this build, the stun build on your right click. And then of course for the round 2 you want to synergize it. So you pick Warlock's Grip, which increases the range of it. The stun is actually really nice because it has a default 0.5 second stun duration. You don't even need to charge it to get a half a second stun. And half a second stun is pretty good in this game. So there's that. And with the increased range, your range of attack of initiation is actually much greater if you take this. And it stuns them, so the moment they get caught, you can basically initiate a combo and get a lot of energy charge, a lot of damage, and they're out of position, their supports can't heal them instantly, so they will probably lose their max HP. Everything's just better. And of course, it gives you added benefit of being able to hit the orb much easier. There we go, much easier, right? But there's this other build, Arcane Barrage plus Spell Eater. The reason why I don't like this build is because it forces you to use a normal Q instead of your EXQ, right? Although it is nice that you get an extra attack that also heals you for actually a large amount of healing, but you shouldn't be relying on the healing in the first place. You should be dodging their skill shots with your spacebar which I did not do just then. But you should be dodging your skill shots, their skill shots, and keeping yourself and the enemy in an optimal range for you so you can avoid their skill shots. It's like simple things, right? Your range hero, you want to stay away from your enemies and just in range so you can hit them. So naturally, you wouldn't need the healing components because you shouldn't get caught. If you get caught, you're kind of bad, but sometimes you're gonna get caught. But even if you did get caught, the healing component is limited because they actually have to hit your shield to give you extra charges so you get more healing, right? This launches up to 7 weapon charges. So if they don't hit you once you casted this, and if you do land the skill shot afterwards, you actually only get what? Not a lot of healing, 20 healing instead of 28 healing, right? So it's limited. Not only is it limited by your own skills, it's also limited by your opponent's skill factor. If your opponent is really good, then this Battlerite is less effective. However, for disruption, it's entirely based on you. If you're good, you will get the full benefit from it. It doesn't matter if your opponent's good or bad. If you're better than your opponent, it will work. And for Arcane Barrage, it requires your opponent to be worse than you. So yeah, it's limited, it's not as good, but it is a viable build. And of course with Spell Eater, it is synergized with, you know, the first battle, right? You can double on charges from absorbing attacks. So naturally, you get charges easier, and you get more consistent healing from your Q. But it is every 8 seconds, so kind of shit. And the reason why, I think you should always use your EXQ instead of your normal Q, is that EXQ only takes 24 damage to break, and it can be casted on your allies, and it gives you 10 weapon charges instantly. It's not additional charges. It's 10. I mean, it's not like. How do I say this? Okay, for the Q, it's added on top of your charges, right? Of your current charges. However, if you use your EXQ, it doesn't matter how many charges you have currently. It will just get it to 10, right? So if you time it right, which is hard, but if you're lucky, let's say, you finish your round of charges, and okay, my target died. But basically what will happen is, you finish your 5 rounds of Arcane Fire, and the shield breaks at the same time, and you instantly get another 10 shots, and you get 15 shots consecutively. That's like shitloads of damage, 90 damage if you land all of it. Unlikely, but in the best situation, it will work out better than using just the Q. Because when you're using Q, you know what happens? You can't attack, right? And the time you spend not attacking is the time the opponents get to reset their cooldowns to get a better position against you and everything. It's just bad. And with an EXQ, you force them to either completely like go all in engaging you, which potentially gives you 10 more charges so you can fight even better, or they have to back off and you get to get a few shots off while they're escaping. So EXQ is just much better. You can shoot while using it, gives you the protection, and if it gets broken easier, then well, it gets charges easier because it gets broken after 24 damage, which would have normally only given you 2 charges. That's like, what the fuck? You get 10 charges instead of 2. I think that's much better, right? And another reason why the shield is better is, if it gets broken, you know you have 10 charges, you cast your book, and you have basically 20 Arcane Fire shooting at your enemy within the next second, or next 2 seconds. That's pretty insane. It's a lot of burst damage, and it's kind of the main reason of why Ezmo is good. Okay, let's continue with the fucking builds, right? So, regardless of the first 2 Battlerites that you pick, the third one is kind of irrelevant. Well, not irrelevant in the sense that it doesn't like change how the game is played, but it doesn't matter what you pick in the first two, right? Okay. So for collapse, you deal bonus damage and right click, depending on the charge. It's kind of shit. For Power Thief, it gives you a heal, AoE damage, and you have to pass through your opponents. And it's pretty good. I pushed it twice so I didn't get the heal. Yeah, it's AoE, so it's nice. So you will get 12 healing if you hit 3 targets. Happens rarely, but it is good. Occasionally, I would argue it's better than Collapse because, and of course, I always take this one instead of Collapse, even though I do go the Disruption and Warlock Spirit build. And Exhaust is just shit. You are very unlikely to hit all 5 Arcane Fires. Unless the target is stunned for 2 seconds from Older's ultimate, you're probably not going to land all 5 Arcane Fires. And even if you do land it, it's a fucking fading snare for 1 second. 1 second fading snare. It's shit. It's just no, you just don't pick that. No, never ever pick that. It doesn't increase your fighting power, it doesn't increase your 1v1 potential, it doesn't increase your control. Even though, yes, it does give you 1 second fading snare, the control factor of this fading snare is so like tiny, it's not even worth mentioning. So it's a contest between Collapse and Power Thief. Some people pick Collapse. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's like retarded, but you know, it's probably better if you get Power Thief. The additional healing is nice, and it gives you more flexibility. Say you need slightly more burst from your usual combo, then you can travel into them, get extra damage, and yeah, it's pretty nice and heals you, gives you more 1v1 potential. Meanwhile, Collapse gives you slightly more burst at long range. But yeah, it's like it's not significant. If you think of it, the maximum potential of Collapse is 8 more damage, and the maximum potential of Power Thief is also 8 more damage, plus 8 healing. So you know, there's that. So Power Thief is probably the better choice here, regardless of whichever build you go for in the first 2 Battlerites. Now for the 4th Battlerite, I rarely get to this stage because I win usually by round 3 or I lose because Ezmo's pretty one-sided. But I usually pick Arcane Energy. The more energy you get, the more EXQs you can cast, and the more Siphon Life you can use, even though I don't usually use it because you only use it against counter targets. But also means more books. Books is insane. 15-second cooldown, just like most other people's R skill. But the damage is so insane, you should just spam it the moment you think you can get at least 5 shots in. Just 5 shots. 5 shots will be 60 damage. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. So Arcane Energy is probably the best battle right here. And the reason why Imprush is pretty shit is because you have to use Arcane Barrier. Note, they have different name, Arcane Ward, Arcane Barrier. So it doesn't actually benefit Arcane Ward, it only benefits Arcane Barrier. And as I've explained before, Arcane Barrier is not the best to use. If you ever want to use Q, you should use Arcane Ward. So there you go. Face Melt is shit. Like, what the fuck? What? Okay, you do 2 more damage. Wow, so much damage. Wow, do 8 damage per shot. First of all, you'll probably be routing your enemies in max range, so you need to walk slightly closer to them, which will take like half a second, right? And that's like 2 shots gone. 2 potential shots gone. And it's only a route, so they can just get out of it by using movement skills or immaterial, whatever. So many ways you can dodge the effect of Face Melt that's not worth mentioning. And it's the same with Undermine. Like, what? Shackle reduces target's damage and healing output by 50% for 2.5 seconds. They can just get out, and 2 seconds later, they're just normal again, so that's why you never take Undermine, okay? And oh, I guess I need to explain wreak havoc. It's okay. It's not the worst. But it's just that the benefits it provides you is it's just not on the same level as the other two, right? The reason is because when you're shooting, you can see my movement speed is reduced. And what you want to do with your displays is shoot immediately after you use your displays. So you don't actually get that much benefit from the fading haste. Because you're either taking advantage of your fading haste by running away, or maybe run around the opponent. I don't know why you would do that, but you can do that. Run around the opponent, or you'll be shooting them. You're wasting the potential of one component of the skill if you take this. But of course, if you're getting focused a lot, if you know you're gonna get focused a lot in the matchup, then it's okay to take it because you'll mainly be using it to escape, to get into a better position, to use your chaos grip. Then sure, it's okay. Oh fuck, I died. But yeah, it's not the worst, but compared to the other two, it's just not as optimal, right? So there you go. Round 4, yeah, impressed shit. Arcane Energy is pretty good, face mount is fucking useless. And for the last one, since your ultimate is kinda fucking useless, right? You'll generally be using your R and your EXQ. The ultimate upgrade won't come into use very much. But I will tell you that Life Leash is much better. Think about it, right? 2 seconds. A 20 HP AoE heal for all of your teams.
Here we go.
If you cast it at the right time, you will potentially do up to a 60 HP heal for your team, right? And that's 60 extra HP that your opponent has to deal. 60 extra damage. So yeah, if you ever get to round 5 and you're thinking, what should I take? Probably take the heal. Leashes onto you, restoring 5 weapon charges over 2 seconds. That's kind of shit. Right? Oh wow, okay. I can shoot a lot. Wow, I do a lot of damage. That's not that good. Wow, I can shoot a lot. You basically don't have to recharge. But the thing is, your ultimate doesn't really catch anyone. Ever. Unless you forced out the enemy's escapes, all of it already. You know you forced it out already, right? And and you have to actually land your ultimate. It's actually, you see, the range is tiny. Whoops. Alright? My mouse cursor is here, but you can only cast it over there. So you have to force your opponent's movement skills, get into range by either using your movement skill, which you will probably have to use while forcing out your opponent's movement skills to apply pressure, right? So they will run away. And now say they're there, and you cast it here. It's just non-optimal. It's just not a very good talent. But if you take this, instead you get like an AoE heal for you and your teammates. So it's much easier to use. You get more opportunities to use it. And yeah, in general, it's just much better than Power Leash. It's not that all Power Leash is useless. If the time is right, the non-stop barrage of Arcane Fire is pretty strong because it does like, well, I don't know, 70 something damage. A lot of damage. Plus, if they actually end up getting caught in the explosion of your ultimate, it's like in total like 100 something damage. It's pretty insane burst. But rarely you get a chance to do that, so that's why Life Leash is better. Now, with all these Battlerites in mind, the playstyle of Ezmo is pretty simple. At the start of the game, you get to like near the center with your teammate, and you just fucking channel it. Channel your Chaos Grip. You can cancel it if you want. Cancel it, just like Jade's right click. But it applies so much pressure on your opponent that either your teammates can get an opening and go in on them if you're doing like a duel with like a Shifu or whatever. Or if you're a healer, then you can just sit back. And if you manage to land your Chaos Grip And if you took stun, which I would recommend, you get free like, I don't know, 50 damage in. Probably 70 if your teammate also lands their damage, right? 70 damage in, and now they have to run because, you know, they're out of position, they need to get the heal from their teammates, blah blah blah. So generally at the start of the game, you should be charging your Chaos Grip, and after you release it, whether you land it or not, you don't have to actually go aggro. If you land it, sure, the situation I described will happen. But if you don't land it, you don't have to panic. You just stay at the maximum range and shoot your arcane fires. And the thing you have to notice though, if the enemy has a counter character, say Freya, which will pull you in, that's really bad, or a Shifu, which will TP back to you, you should avoid triggering their counter as much as possible. In general, you want to avoid doing that with any range characters or any characters in general. But with Ezmo, it's especially important that you don't, because the only escape you have is your space. Your E actually doesn't help you anything, like at all. Sure, it's a root, but while you're casting it, you're gonna take like 40 damage. And after you cast it, they're gonna get like 1 extra hit in before you can run away. And while you're casting it, you have reduced movement speed. That's even worse, that's just so shit, right? So you only have spacebar to work with to escape. Of course, you can use your Q, but as I've said, you want to use EXQ as much as possible. And if you use your Q, and at the start of the game, if you don't get enough charges, you don't get to use your EXQ, then your man fight potential is less, and you use your Q, they get their cooldown reduction back, and you know, if they're good, they just go on your teammate. And now you can't really help your teammate because you're an Ezmo, and the only way you can help your teammate is with EXQ. So it's bad. So triggering counter is especially important for Ezmo to not do, right? Now, after that, if you're aware of not triggering your opponent's counters, and you dodge their counter by not triggering it, yeah, and it gets to the stage where the orb is probably about to spawn. You get 2 choices. You can either move back, suck it in with your Chaos Grip, and take it real fast, because you do 30 damage with 5 shots of Arcane Fire. So if you get a max charge Chaos Grip, you'll probably get the orb in 1 combo, right? Or you can just go aggro, push them out, and get easy center warp with just 2 rounds of Arcane Fires. Because sure, you get a guaranteed center warp with Chaos Grip, but Chaos Grip provides so much pressure that you should probably be using it to pressure your enemies. So yeah, 2 ways you can go about it. The surefire way of getting it, by getting really far away and just get a warp. Or you can, I don't know what the fuck, I didn't charge it properly, I guess. But yeah, or you can go aggro, a little bit aggro, push your opponents out, and get the orb really fast. Because you do a lot of DPS anyway, so you get the orb really fast without using Chaos Grip. After that, you should get some energy, and what you need to try to do, from here on out, nothing will probably change too much, right? And what you need to try to do is land your book combo. There are 2 combos. First is the retarded one, where you somehow land your roots and you just cast the book down and you shoot the shit out of them. You will probably guarantee at least 60 damage in if you land the root, right? Land the root. That's 60 damage. That's a lot of damage, okay? That's the first combo. Unlikely to pull off. Sometimes you pull it off and you feel really good about yourself, but it's probably not going to happen too often. The other combo is you just play normal and your teammate gets jumped. You don't have to worry, you don't have to go in and try to help them with, like, soak some damage. You just sit back, shoot at the enemy, and then you cast your shield on your teammates, and now you have 10 charges, and you shoot the shit out of your opponent. That's kind of how it goes, right? So here's how it goes. Oh no, my teammate's getting hit. Okay. Oh, cast book. Bam, 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 bam. That's like a very doable combo. It happens pretty often as well. And with that, you have to make sure your opponent doesn't have any movement skills, right? Because if they see you cast a book, they're probably going to run away from it. Since the book is stationary, if they run away from it, it's no threat from the book. So yeah, there you go. That's pretty much the combo of Ezmo and how you should go about playing him. And generally, you just keep your opponent at the max distance, dodge from them. Yeah, dodge skill shots. Because iframes, you can dodge pretty big skill shots with that. Nothing else really gives you iframe, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, you can use your EX left click against counter targets, but you wouldn't want to use it in a 1v2 situation because you either get stunned or you just won't hit 2 targets anyway, and the other target will just fuck your shit up. Okay? He'll fuck your shit up. Guaranteed. Fuck your shit up. Because you're not doing anything else. You move slower when you're doing that. Everything's just bad. So no, only use it in 1v1 situations. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, and a very important thing with book is, you know, when you play a lot of Battlerite, you tend to aim further away. Like, say your target's here, but you want to aim behind them, so you get less margin of error of you missing. Right? But if you cast a book, it's like this. You aim behind them, the book will shoot where your cursor is, so your book won't actually land it. So it takes a while to get used to. But when you're playing Ezmo and you use your book, you need to have really good tracing, right? Really good tracing. Unless you cast your book right on yourself, then well, it's kind of like, yeah, you can do the same thing. But generally, you want to cast your book somewhere like this, so it gives them less room to move around with. Either you will miss or the book will miss. Well, I mean, either you will land your shot or the book will land the book's shot. Right? And in the best scenario, both of you land your shot and, you know, do shit lots of damage. So that's nice. So yeah, you probably won't get to use your OT as much as it's kind of shit. And also because your EXQ and your book is just so much better. Yeah. That's pretty much how you play Ezmo. Go for this build. Whoops, I took everything away. This is generally the build you want to go with. Right? You can go for this, of course. That works. Take everything in the middle. That worked. Sometimes pick that one, but that's not shit. But yeah, generally you will do just fine. You keep your safe distance and use your right click to initiate, because it puts in another position, and yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. And for some reason this video is still long as fuck. I don't know why it's so long. I'll try better next time. But yeah, that's how you play Ezmo.